What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into another episode of Golf on Tap. As always, I'm Jack Bushman, joined by my partner in crime, Joey Ricotta. Make sure to go and give him a follow on X at Joey Knows Nothing. You can give me a follow on X at Jack Bushman too. And make sure to follow our page at On Tap Golf. Go and show some support there if you can real quick. And also make sure to go and follow On Tap Golf on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That's 100% free. We just got up there a couple of weeks ago, and you can find all of the latest episodes as soon as they come out right there. So go and give us a follow if you'd like to be hearing what we're going to be betting week in and week out, and also our recaps of every PGA Tour event. This week is arguably the best non-major event on the PGA Tour slate. It's the Player Championship week, Joey. Also previously known as the fifth major, the best field in golf, what used to kind of really be hyped up as. It's been dumbed down a little bit this year, obviously, because of all the departures to live, and I think they know tongue-in-cheek they can't really call it that anymore, but regardless, it's still an excellent tournament. It's as good as it's going to get in a non-major these days on the PGA Tour. I love TPC Sawgrass. I love the coverage of this tournament. It's one of the rare weeks of the season where the PGA Tour actually does knock it out of the park. It's like that in Augusta, basically. So I'm super excited. Hopefully this is the week that the Schneid finally comes to an end, brother. Scotty Schefflered us last week. Unfortunately, he goes bananas on Sunday with the putter. So my Willie Z hopes and dreams got crushed on Sunday afternoon, but that doesn't deter me from trying to find another winner this week. But before we do, Joey, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon, my good friend?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Yeah, rough weekend. I think at one point I texted you and I was like, dude, is Rory fucking serious? There were a few things about the tournament that just drove me nuts. Obviously, Sam Burns, Scotty Putler. Dude, I don't know. Like, is the new putter just all of a sudden he's figuring it out here? I mean, I think he led the pack in strokes gained putting that final day there. So, yeah, man. And I mean, just an incredible tournament. I'm super excited for this. I'm still going to call it the unofficial fifth major here because I like this tournament. So I really like the par 317, the Green Island on 17. So or the Island Green, I should say. Got those words mixed up. But still, I love the 17 here. I mean, we were talking about it last year, how difficult that is. Just one of my favorite tournaments, I think, of the year, and it's no different this year. So like you said, man, I'm hoping we can get something together here and get an outright because we are long overdue, and it's no reason to be this long overdue when we're putting in this kind of research and work every week. So I'm gonna rely on you for some tips and tricks this week for some of these guys. I've got 5 of them, it looks like, locked in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. I've been diving pretty heavily into my research this week and doing as much as I can because, like you mentioned, it's been a little bit of a tough start to the season, man, and was a pretty tough fall for your boy as well. So I'm really hoping that I can get off. But I feel like I'm starting to get pretty close. I did have Willie Z, who was right there for the taking, man. I mean, Saturday afternoon, he had the mojo riding high. He's 4 shots ahead going to the back 9 and absolutely blows it down the stretch there, and then just didn't have his best stuff on Sunday. Not that it mattered because no one was really going to catch Scotty Scheffler in that situation, but Austin Eckroat was someone, I had bet the week before he won in Mexico. I was on Hideki a couple of times before he wins at the Genesis. So just trying to stick to the process this weekend. Hopefully this is the one that we can break out. It's hard to find much better weeks to break out of slump than this one. So hopefully that'll be the case. But it is difficult, certainly, to parse through because it is such a good field, Joey. We've got all of the big dogs in the field. Everyone is here except for Tiger Woods, unfortunately, which caught me by surprise a little bit. But all the guys that you would expect are here for the most part. So I'm excited to be breaking down an elite field like this, the 5th of 8 signature events on the tour schedule this season, bro.
Yeah, man. We were just talking about it, or I was just saying, this is one of the best tournaments of the season, definitely. I mean, 5th signature event. Like I said, I was a little surprised that Tiger wasn't in this one, but the most important one. Hopefully he'll be in there soon. Coming up here, we know the Masters is right around the corner, so he's going to be in there soon. And I mean, if this is what it takes for him to do it and just taking this week off, I don't know. Do we hear what the reason was this week, or was it just I didn't really look into it?
Yeah, we haven't really gotten any explanation thus far, but you would think if it, I don't know. I mean, it's just weird. You would think this would be the one real final last test against the best players on the PGA Tour. Like, if you're not playing 4 competitive rounds against them in preparation, like, I just don't know how he can really take his chances seriously at Augusta. And if Tiger's going to be there,
Yeah.
you know he's trying to contend at the very least. I don't know how realistic those chances are at this point in time, but that's really what shocked me, was this being the last designated signature event, whatever they're calling it now, before the Masters, the last chance to really see where his game is at against some of the best. And also, it's a rather flat course. Like, it's not like Augusta where it's super hilly or anything. Like, TPC Sawgrass is a rather flat course. So I thought this would have been a good spot for him, but as I talked about with Ross on our show on Monday, I think he absolutely has to play at either Valspar, Valero, or Houston before the Masters, or else I just don't know how he can expect himself to be in any form and how he can truly like feel comfortable, confident, and trust his game going into the Masters. I know that's a course like he knows like the back of his hand, but you can't just ride on that, especially to beat fields like they are here today. Like, you can't beat Scotty Scheffler based on just you being one of the best Masters players in history. You got to be feeling it right now. So, yeah, that caught me by surprise. But, yeah, I thought TPC Sawgrass, even though it is tough, I thought it would have been a good spot for him because it would have been an easier walk through 72 holes.
Yeah, no doubt. It would have been a great spot for him. I'm with you, too. I think it, for him, made too much sense to actually go this weekend or this week. But, I mean, hey, he's done crazier things in the past, man. Like, I would not put it past him for him at least making the cut at Augusta. And
we always bet Tiger making the cut at Augusta, baby. That's what we do.
That's what we're doing. Yeah. I mean, top 40 even too.
Yeah, I don't know if I could just expect more than that, though, and that's like,
I get it.
I mean, that would be great. That would be great, honestly, if Tiger finishes top 40 and makes the cut after what happened at Riv, doesn't even get to play 2 rounds, doesn't play in any of the other signature events. Like, that would be a home run for Tiger Woods.
Yeah, it would. I'm with you, man. Plus, I'm always rooting for. It's just so electric, right? Like, if he's contending, if he's somehow contending without even playing in an event or golfing in an event here leading up to the Masters, like, what an incredible story. Like, would you expect anything less from the GOAT? Like, he could just walk, he can pretty much walk on water when it comes to golfing. So it's like, I don't know. I would love to see it because, most guys can't do anything like that. So, yeah, it would be a cool story. But Jack, this week, big week, obviously. I'm super pumped, man, because I think I've got a pretty good read this week. And at least, we were looking at a prop too leading up to this right before we hopped on here. And I told you I'm putting 2 units on it. So little tease for later. But talk to me, man. TPC Sawgrass, the course breakdown, or just a little, summary of it. You guys obviously had the preview show the other night. So maybe some things you talked about there or something that you're looking for stats wise or, projecting these golfers out this week.
Yeah, TPC Sawgrass is a rather interesting course just because there is so much trouble everywhere. I mean, there's water everywhere on this course, man, on 17 of the 18 holes. And also, one thing that's a noted change this year, the rough is up from 2.5 inches to about 3.5. So the rough is going to play even more brutal. I think it's going to be even more penal than it has been in years past. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Sawgrass plays a little bit tougher this year from what I'm hearing. But yeah, it's just one of those courses where it's hard to really go back and put too much weight into guys' course history because simply one bad shot, 2 bad shots on one hole, you blow up and make an 8 or a 9 because of the water. And like that ruins your entire tournament. It skews kind of the viewpoint of how you were actually playing entirely. So it's just one of the most volatile golf courses on the PGA Tour. over 7,200 yards, about 7,250 this year. Plays as a par 72. You get a little bit of everything here too, which is interesting, and I think kind of leads into the mantra being anyone can kind of win here. It's just kind of coming in and playing good form. There's no one player type that holds the advantage over the other. We've seen Cameron Smith win here, losing like 4 strokes off the tee because his short game was so good and he was making every putt. And it just kind of comes down to staying out of the water, like avoiding the big blow up holes. But like I said, you get a little bit of everything. You'll get some short par 4s. You'll get some long ones. The par 5s, for the most part, are pretty manageable. Only one's up over 600 yards. The other 3 are pretty gettable too. And even the par 3s, they're really not that long. The Island Green, only 130 yards, but a lot of ways to make big numbers. And I feel like that's the motto of Pete Dye Designs, and this one is just a perfect one. Like, you can go out there and score if you're hitting the ball well. We see it year in and year out. Guys can make 63, 64, 65. You also can shoot 80. It's just one of those golf courses with a lot of variance because of all the water, all the bunkers, 92 sand bunkers. I mentioned, though, that the rough is going to be up a little bit this year, and this tournament, this is the 4th year now, or maybe the 5th, I want to say, since it has been moved to March from when it used to be played in May. With the rough being up, and generally in March, it's colder than it is in Florida in May. So I think it's going to make it a little bit harder to hit the ball further. So maybe guys who hit the ball off the tee a little bit longer have an advantage, but still, you got to be hitting the fairways to really take advantage of that. And also, there's a lot of holes where you got to club down and use less than drivers. So, to me, TPC Sawgrass always feels like a place where you got to have all parts of your game going and got to be confident in all of the major areas to go and win here. It's been difficult for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, to kind of predict and place wagers on, because there's so many different types of outcomes, but that's also what makes the tournament so great. But I think it is interesting that in the last 4 years, each of the last 4 winners have found themselves ranked in the top 10 in the official world golf ranking. I do think that is notable. And also, I think this is one of those courses that you do need experience on in order to get around. It just feels like it's one of those unique in its own types of things. So I'm going to be going with some guys who maybe not necessarily have good course experience here. I'm not putting a lot of stock into that, but you want to have at least played here, I think. It generally isn't good to debutants. I think playing well in Florida and putting on these Bermuda greens can really never hurt. Looking into that can be helpful. But otherwise, you got to have the full arsenal to go and actually win this thing, because there's just a lot of ways to make big numbers, Joey. So it is a major championship-esque level test. Maybe not as difficult as Bay Hill last week, but it's still a beast in its own right, and I'm super excited for it. It does always provide a lot of carnage, so hopefully this is the year that I kind of assess things right and finally get a winner, because I've had no such luck over the last couple of years, my friend.
Yeah, this is a very tough one. Just the volatility of this course. And I like what you said there too about course history not really being a huge part of the process this week. I do agree with that. I think, yeah, you make a lot of good points there too about, at least having some sort of experience, but it does feel like, if you haven't been really good here in the past, but you've at least golfed here, then in the future, maybe you get a win. So, I'm looking at that too, and I really am approaching this more so from a good recent form. And then what guys do well, right? Like, of course, the driving accuracy this week is going to be important. Total driving, I think, super important. Par 5 scoring. Just avoiding, kind of like what you said, avoiding the water and avoiding the big numbers, I think is what's going to really be huge this week. And looking for some guys to really ride the wave of some good recent success and not shit down their leg come day 3 or come day 4. Like, that's pretty much, fingers crossed. Like, we have to at this point, because I think we're right on the money with some of these guys, Sam Burns being one of them. For you, Willie Z, of course, he still was good, but Scheffler just kind of ran away with it. So, looking at this week, I mean, we look at the recent winners here. Scheffler in 2023, 17 under. Cam Smith, like you were talking about, 13 under. Justin Thomas, 14 under. Rory, 16 under. And then Webb Simpson in 18 under. So it's like kind of between that 13 under and 18 under range is kind of what we probably should expect this week. But I don't know, man. Like you said, it could play really tough, especially the way that the rough is and, with the colder weather. I know being in March, it's a lot different, but those are kind of the recent years here, at least since it's moved to March. So I would say probably in that 13 to 15 under range to be safe. And if Scotty's putting the lights out, it's probably going to be like 20 under because it's Scotty.
Yeah. If Scotty's going, and this is just kind of how it feels like things operate with Scotty. Like when he has the putter rolling, you see it and he runs away and wins by 5 or 6. Like that's how most of his wins occur, really. But yeah, this week I'm in a pool and you have to, as a tiebreaker, predict what the winning score will be. And I think I predicted 14 under. I do think it's going to be
nice.
A little bit more difficult this year. I mean, that's kind of what it was last year for everybody except Scotty ended up finishing at 17. So yeah, 14 or 13 would probably be my guess. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I know we're always hoping for that. So we'll see if it ends up playing out throughout the course of the week.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you make of, and since we'll get right to the top of the board here in just a second, but I mean, basically he is the top of the board at 5 to 1 or 550 to 1 here with Scotty Scheffler. What do you make of him? He made some comments about the new putter. He's using the TaylorMade Spider Mallet. It's got the TaylorMade Pure Roll face insert. And he was saying it's really helping him line it up a little bit better. So do you think he's really figured something out with that? I mean, it looked like it last week. It's looked like a little bit better here recently. Well, I shouldn't say recently, obviously last week. Pretty much, that's it. But what do you make of that? Like, do you think that's something that he can be a little bit more consistent with because of this? Is everybody else just doomed from here on moving forward? Or is that 1 week off and maybe he won't be able to line it up as good this week just because he's so bonkers with the putter?
You know what I think is always interesting is just when something different clicks with another guy, they really do feel it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Scotty Scheffler go out and perform well. And that is obviously a terrifying thought. I just am not going to be betting him at plus 500, plus 600. And to me, I've just got a couple of enough reasons to not be backing him. One, it's not fun. I want to take some more guys. It's Players Week, baby. Let's get some good odds, cash a good old ticket here. No time to be betting Scotty Scheffler as the favorite at 6 to 1. Also, Tiger Woods himself, the GOAT, has never defended at TPC Sawgrass. I think that's just it just shows
Excuse me. Holy crap.
Tough it is.
Bad announcer burp on air.
Hilarious. That was hilarious. I think that, though, just shows you exactly how hard it is to consistently play well at a course like this because there are so many obstacles and so many troublesome spots you can find yourself in. And also, Scotty, the final round on Sunday, yes, it was excellent. It was the 4th best single round putting of his entire career. And he he needed to putt half that good to actually win the tournament, or maybe even a quarter as good in the final round because his ball striking was so excellent. But it's a short enough timeline that you question it. And that's enough for me to go in a separate way. But one thing I think about is just even Lucas Glover last summer, he's now completely lost with the broomstick style putter again, by the way. But it just clicked for him and he was all of a sudden just instantly fixed like that. So when something just changes in your eyes, something changes with your alignment, something you you can go and get on a run there and just feel confident in it instantly. And maybe that does end up happening with Scotty Scheffler for the sake of making this an interesting show and making things fun over the weekend. I certainly hope not, but yeah, I mean, I was begging for him to go to a change for months before this, man. It's been a topic of conversation week in and week out on the PGA Tour. He's just been costing himself win after win after win. And finally, he got past his stubbornness to go and give something else a try, and look what happened. So yeah, we'll see. That's kind of the curious case that Scotty Scheffler, after finally figuring out how to putt, we've been asking for so long what happens when Scotty putts? Oh, well, yeah, he goes and wins Bay Hill by 5 strokes, and it's not even a tournament. That's what happens. But can he go and keep that going at a place where no one's ever successfully defended their title? I think that's what makes the top of the betting board a little bit more interesting this week and gives people a very tough thought. But for me, it's a pass on Scotty Scheffler.
Wholeheartedly agree, man. You got to make it fun. You got to make it interesting. Do we feel good about taking the 5-1 number and winning? Like, yeah, it's a win, but you're not winning that much, number one. Plus, you don't look like you're even that knowledgeable. You're just going with the no-brainer pick. It's like, I want to be, you want to feel really good. Like, oh, my research paid off and I got this longer number, or like someone who wasn't even projected to actually win. And if we're being honest, we talk about this all week or every week that we do this show, that the guys at the top of the board are not guarantees. The odds are really against them to win because they're going up against, 143 other golfers. I mean, it doesn't matter. The slightest thing can break wrong and you can lose a tournament, or somebody can get super hot and you can win a tournament. Like, this isn't like it's the Bears versus Packers and, the Packers are the no-brainer pick and they're just going to win all the time. Like, it's not like that. This is golf. So, yeah, I think I'm passing on Scheffler there too at the top of the board. Long-winded answer. But Rory, 14-1 underneath him. We know about the breakdown this past weekend and really pissed me off anyways. So yeah, wasn't happy with Rory this past weekend, but could see the argument for getting back on the train. Xander, 20-1. Justin Thomas is 25-1. Max Homa is 25-1. And then Victor Hovland, ya boy, 25-1. So good group of guys here at the top. Jack, you lean in any sort of direction here?
Yeah, I already got one bet made in this range, but before I get there, I do want to talk for a second about Rory McIlroy, because you can get Rory with the DraftKings boost right now. You can get Rory McIlroy at, excuse me, I got to plug in my laptop or else it's going to die on us. I apologize real quick. Don't want that.
It's a rerun of last week now.
Did that happen last week too?
I know it didn't happen, but I think afterwards when we were talking, you're like, yeah, dude, my laptop's going to die. I got to go.
Yeah, I'm not.
Was that Ron? That might have been Ron the other night. I'm mixing up every fucking show now. But anyways.
Don't confuse me with Ron. Come on.
He doesn't have a cool bucket hat like you either. By the way, you need to get like the stash going, because then you can just totally be the Joel Damon guy of the show and be the bucket hat with the stash. You need to start rocking that.
You don't want to see this stash, brother. I'll tell you what. I needed to change up my mojo a little bit. I went with the cowboy style hat last week. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done. I'm going with the Mizzou Bucky this week. Maybe it brings them a little bit of good luck as they're trying to get their first win against a conference opponent this year, and it's actually conference tournament time, so that's never a good sign of how things have been going. So trying to change up the mood, trying to change up the mojo a little bit. Maybe that'll have me inspired. But Rory McIlroy, I do want to bring him up because other than Scotty, he's obviously the most notable player in this field, and you get an opportunity to bet him at 17-1 this week if you want, using the DraftKings plus 300 odds. And I mean, when's the last time you saw Rory McIlroy at 17-1? It has been a long, long time. But while he's still the best player in the world off of the tee, man, there are just random blow-ups in his game that just aren't giving me good trust right now. Like losing 4.2 strokes approach last week. And then the week before at PGA National, he's the best player in the field from tee to green, loses 3.5 strokes putting. Losing strokes on approach at the Genesis Invitational, losing strokes on approach at Pebble Beach with 3 basically god-awful rounds. Like, it has not been good for Rory McIlroy since coming over from Europe so far this season. Off the tee is always going to give him an advantage, but with so much water on this course, like, it feels like he's just been making one like big number every other round so far this year. So like, because he hasn't been able to put it together for 4 rounds, I just don't know how you can trust Rory McIlroy to be in good enough form to go and win this tournament. Can he do it? Absolutely. It's Rory McIlroy. Even though 17-1 is a very good number, I just don't see how I could do it. The one guy I did bet in this range was Justin Thomas. I got him at 27-1. And I think outside of Scotty Scheffler, out of the big names on the PGA Tour, I think you can make an argument that Justin Thomas has probably been the best one of them so far this season. He's got 4 top 12 so far in 12 starts. And what's more impressive to me, Joey, is kind of how he's been going about his business. In 2 of his last 3 outings, he's gained strokes all across the board in the 4 major categories. He's already done that 3 times so far this season. He ranks first in strokes gained around the green over the last 24 rounds, third in strokes gained total, 9th in approach. And I know I'm not putting a lot of weight into past results here, but he's never missed a cut. He's won here in 2021, had a T11 in 2018, T3 in 2016. And it just feels like out of all the big dogs, aside from Scotty, he might be the one who's in the best form to actually go and win this thing. And for JT, it's a week in and week out thing. Like Scotty Scheffler, it comes down to whether or not he can make enough putts. That's still been hit or miss, even though he's off to a good start this year. But he's only lost over a stroke putting here twice in his 8 career starts, and he's gained over a stroke 3 times. So if he can just be, in between that minus half a stroke to anywhere positive, like, I think he's going to be in contention come the weekend time. So I really like Justin Thomas off the rip. The other one that was catching my eye a little bit, and honestly is part of one of the final decisions that I have to make, is Xander Schauffele. Can get him at 23-1 still. I haven't used my plus 300 boost on DraftKings yet. He was the one really at the top of the board along with Justin Thomas that I've been looking at. Quietly, it's been a pretty decent start for Xander Schauffele. Never really, in typical Xander fashion, was never really in contention last week, but still finished T25 at the API. But 4 top 10s in 5 starts prior to that, and is the one who, if you go and look at the numbers, has been the most consistent across the board. He lost over 2 strokes on approach last week. It's only the second time that he's lost strokes on approach since the Open Championship. Gains basically every week off the tee, gains basically every week around the green. Just a really reliable tee to green player. Been hit or miss here too, interestingly enough. It's like miss the cut or top 20 for Xander, but he was kind of the guy at the top of the board that I was thinking of along with Justin Thomas. But what do you got here at the top, Joey?
It's really tough for me at the top. I see and understand your Justin Thomas this week. Also, X gonna give it to you. I think if I had to make a bet, I would definitely take him to go top 20 this year. Even though you said like he's kind of hit or miss here at the Players, but yeah, I think I would bank on him to go top 20 and at that rate, contend. As you said, the approach numbers and all that, like. He's going to turn it back around here this week. I really believe that with Xander. With JT, though, it's interesting, right? And let me do a little quick counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18. So he is in the top 5 for odds right now. As far as, we're just going over the odds board. So projected win, though, he is 18th in win probability when I was looking at RotoGrinders board here. But the other guys at the top, they have Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland, and then Ludwig Aberg, Cantlay, and then Homa. So Homa, who's still kind of up near the top, obviously on the odds board. But to me, that's a big discrepancy. That's a big difference. When you're 18th in win probability, your number is like one of the top 5 as far as odds go. To me, I don't like that from a price standpoint. To me, that means you're a little overpriced this week. Not that that's everything. So that was the reason why I stayed off of Justin Thomas. But like you said, he has really good course history here. And, he has obviously the dub. So, and is coming in with really good form. And who would have said that? Or who would have thought the way that he was golfing last year that we'd be talking at this time this year and saying, wow, JT's got great form. He's got some of the best form coming into a tournament. It's like, I didn't think we'd be here at this point. Not that anyone doubted he'd find it again and come back to, who he truly is. I think we all thought that, but just goes to show you what type of a long road he took and how far he's come in a short period of time here. When we were just looking at him as like, man, he's awful right now. He stinks. He doesn't stink. And it truly wasn't as bad as we were making it out to be either. And I'm guilty of that. I'm very guilty of that. But That's the reason why I did pass on him here at the top. I actually avoided the entire, I guess I would say, top little area here. So I'm kind of in that 33 range, Jack. So if we keep looking here, we got Colin Morikawa 28-1, Patrick Cantlay 30-1, Willie Z 33-1, who unfortunately, he had a really good week last week, Jack. I know stings a little bit when you get the Scheffler good putting week, but Ludwig Aberg 35-1, Deki Matsuyama is at 40-1, Jordan Spieth 40-1, and then Sam Burns 40-1. So a great crop of golfers right in this range. And this is where I'm going to start my card, Jack. Who you got, if anyone in here?
Yeah, really like this range. Patrick Cantlay, I gave a long thought to, but ultimately didn't end up getting there. Will Zalatoris was just an easy bet for me right off the rip, man. I liked him, obviously, going into last week, had a really close call at Bay Hill, but there really wasn't any reason to be all that discouraged. If anything, he just proved that he was even better. He was fantastic, now finished in the top 5 in back-to-back signature events. He gained 8.2 strokes to the field in the ball striking categories, had the 4th best driving week of his career. He popped for 4.5 strokes off the tee. The putter was pretty good once again, even though it let him down a little bit on Sunday. Like I said, he just wasn't going to end up catching Scotty Scheffler. So no harm, no foul there, but I've just been so impressed with the long irons from Willie Z. His off the tee was just fantastic last week. And that distance and accuracy combination, if he can keep it going this week, along with how he hits his long irons and how he hits his wedges, man, I think this sets up to be a really good course for him. The only problem has been in his career here, he's been literally like the worst putter. He lost almost 7 strokes putting here last year, and no one has missed more putts from 5 to 10 feet over the last 3 years than Will Zalatoris, but he still finished inside the top 30 twice, despite not putting it all that well. And I just think he's got a lot more confidence in the flat stick. So no real reasons for me to get off of Will Zalatoris. I think he's proven himself that he can hang with the best of them in the best fields of golf, and that's really when he does his best work. So 33-1, Will Zalatoris, one of the first clicks this week for me. I also bet Sam Burns 44-1, and we were talking about this a little bit off air, Joey, but I think that final round from Sam Burns really changed everyone's perspective on him going into this week, because he ended up shooting 6 over 78 in that final round to come T30 at Bay Hill. But it was a disaster for him in the final round. He lost 1.6 strokes off the tee, 2.5 on approach, lost another 1.5 strokes nearly around the green. So it was just a really bad final round. But up to that point, it looked like it was going to be another high-end finish for Sam Burns, and he had gained strokes off the tee and on approach in each of the first 3 rounds. So things were really going well for him until they just didn't in that final round. But everything was looking A-okay, and he had finished inside the top 10 in each of his previous 4 starts before heading into Bay Hill. And you always prefer Sam Burns on Bermuda putting surfaces. Bermuda Burns is back, baby.
They don't call him that for nothing.
Exactly. He's won twice in the state of Florida already in his career. The putter has been excellent so far this year. And I think if you were just kind of going and looking at numbers, looking at the data, things get a little bit skewed for Sam Burns, not only at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, but looking at his stuff from the American Express, where he finished T6. Like, if you're on Rick Rungood, that shows that he lost 2.3 strokes in the ball striking categories. But you got to remember, there was only shot tracker for 2 of the 4 rounds there. So I think Sam Burns' numbers are even better than people suggest them to be. And I think he's in better form than people think. It's just that one kind of bad final round changed people's perspectives a little bit. I was pretty happy to bet him at 44-1. He's gained over 3 strokes putting in each of his last 2 starts here. And like I said, I think the off the tee and irons or off the tee game and the iron play is in better form than some of the numbers suggest. So Sam Burns, bet him at 44-1, Willie Z at 33-1. But Hideki, I think, is definitely interesting. Like I said, I had some thoughts on Cantlay, and I think even though he is a debutant, it's kind of like the Scotty Scheffler situation at top. No one successfully defended. Debutants don't do very well at TPC Sawgrass, but Ludwig Ober,
Mhm.
Luddy F Baby always has the goods to get it done. So lots to like in this range. What'd you end up pulling trigger on?
I knew you were going to have some kind of mention of Luddy F Baby for sure. Yeah, if anybody can do it, I could see him being that guy. But same, man, I'm in the same exact boat. We wound up on the same guys this week. Willie Z, 33 to 1. And then shout out to PointsBet's Power Hour. And
Yes,
thank you,
sir.
Jack, for pointing out that it was going on right before we hopped on here, because I was like, ooh, okay. Did a little shopping around. The hard part is you still want to make sure that like that Power Hour, the odds are still better than some other places. But in this case, it was with Sam Burns with that 44 to 1 number. So, yeah, man, I think this is a case where I'm not going to punish him for that 78 on Sunday this past weekend. I think, like you said, he's in much better form than the way it looks. And think about it this way. We were talking off air. And first of all, they don't call him Bermuda Burns for no reason. But we were talking off air, and I really don't think his number would have been what it is this week. I mean, aside from the Power Hour boost that we got, but he's probably at 30 to 1 or something coming into this week, if not for that 78 on Sunday. And you could say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, he still had it. Yeah, but there's a lot of recency bias, and especially how you do on Sundays will affect people's thoughts going into the next week, especially because there is that thing where we like to talk about, you like to mention the Sunday scaries, right? Who's going to think that he's going to pull it out on Sunday after the way he looked the recent Sunday? So I was still not going to hold that against him. I do think he can contend and possibly win this week. Like you said, Willie Z, the 33 to 1, tough course, tough field type of dude. Like we saw last week.
His bread and butter, baby.
That's what he does. And you were talking about his putting a little bit. The new broomstick putter seems to be really working for him right now. So although he hasn't really putt that well here specifically, right? That's what you're saying. I think maybe this is the time where it's a little bit different this year, especially when he seems to be locked in on all other facets of the game for the most part. So yeah, I am right there with you with Willie Z. I think 33 to 1, terrific number, great price. I think he should probably be looking at 20 and below right now at Willie Z.
Yeah, I was super excited about that price, and it got smashed down a little bit, but I just think there was some money actually coming in on Scotty this week. I really do, and I think that just kept people's odds at bay, which is obviously a terrifying thought, but we've already talked about it. We're here to make some good Skrilla, and betting on Scotty just isn't a whole lot of fun. I mean, winning money is a whole lot of fun, but it would be a lot more fun to go and do it on a little bit of a longer shot, and not the odds-on favorites. So, hey. Scotty Scheffler, if he doesn't end up winning, we can, thank him for giving us some better odds on the rest of the field here. I think, yeah, like you said, 33 to 1 on Willie Z, very good odds. And Burns, I think he would have been right in that same range had he finished anywhere between T5 to T15. He's coming in around 30 to 1 this week.
No question in my mind, I think, with the recent form. Because, I mean, you look at it this way, a lot of really good golf bettors, just people that make odds, all that, they take into account what the public thinks and what the sharps think and what the models think. It's all baked in. So if they can kind of fool you a little bit, and that's what our job is here as bettors and just people looking at this, is to find the inefficiencies, I guess, in the market. So yeah, man, right there with you. And forget Scotty. He's not even in our mind. Like, Scotty doesn't know. Like, we're off Scotty this week. Just completely, even though he's probably going to win. But that said, Shane Lowry, super interesting, 45 to 1. Tommy Fleetwood, never Tommy, 45 to 1. Russell Henley, 50 to 1. Siwoo Kim, 50 to 1. Minwoo Lee, 55 to 1. My boy, the Windy City Flyer, the Windy City Assassin, 55 to 1. Jack, interesting names here, other than Tommy Fleetwood. What do you think?
No love for Tommy Lad after missing the cut and shooting like a 10 on the par 5 10th, I think it was. It was ugly.
It's a water situation, maybe, if you want to look on the plus side. But
I think Tommy could be a good like top 20 DraftKings type of play. I'm just not going to bet him in the outright market. We've had this discussion before. But Joey, some of the last decisions I think I'm making here is I think it's either betting Xander Schauffele or it's betting Shane Lowry and Wyndham Clark. Those are the two that I like in this range. I like Lowry's form, man. It's St. Patty's Day fucking weekend, and I'll tell you what.
Oh, that's right.
If fucking Shane Lowry wins on St. Patty's Day weekend and we don't have it, it's going to hurt worse than Keegan winning at the fucking Travelers and not having it. Like, it's going to hurt real bad. We're going to be like, oh, duh. Like, makes a whole lot of sense. So that's kind of where I'm leaning in this range. Go ahead, buddy.
I just got to ask you a question. Is Francisco Molinari in the field this week?
Francesco?
My bad. Francesco?
It's a major champion. Apologize. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Francesco. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Tiger Woods already buried him. His career is so irrelevant now. But maybe he's here. I think he probably is here because he won the Open in 2019. So, like, that gets him into all the best fields in golf.
I didn't even look at that far down the board yet. So, only reason why I ask that. Yeah, I know. The only reason why I ask that is because, Jack, you know that St. Patrick was Italian, right?
I actually didn't. Or maybe I did, and I just have too much knowledge in my brain and forgot. So now we're going with the Italian mantra. Where's Guido Migliozzi?
I don't know. We need to put him on the card too. But
his caddy that was ripping darts at Augusta National.
Dude,
it's one of my favorite pictures of all time. It's just Guido's caddy ripping heaters at Augusta. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good old Italian boy right there.
That's our boy for life. Yeah. We could hang out at the pizzeria all day.
But getting back on topic here, I do really like Shane Lowry and just the form that he's been in Florida. He hits so many fairways, man. That's really what's been working for him the last couple of weeks, just putting himself in the fairway. I do worry that the putter abandons him on Sunday because that's like the story of his entire career. But it would be a big FOMO situation if Lowry went on to win this thing. And I think he is in the proper form to go and do it. He hasn't really proved it in America, but he is that class of player overseas. So playing some really good golf right now, undeniably. And dude, we're in the same conversation again as last week. How in the fuck is Wyndham Clark? How does he have bigger odds than Russell Henley, dude?
It's the Rodney Dangerfield effect, dude. This guy gets no respect.
Dude, you're telling me, like, I love Siwoo Kim. He hasn't putted well since, like, July, brother. Like, you're telling me Russell Henley?
Yeah.
And I like Russell Henley. I liked him going into this week. But I know the trap. I know a chalky Russell Henley is always a bad Russell Henley. I think he can hang in there, but he always plays like dog shit on the weekends, man, whenever it matters.
He's going to be top 30 and call it a day.
Yeah, listen, that's probably a great Russell Henley bet. Top 20, top 30, leave him alone. But the Wyndham Clark 55-1, man, I was really hoping that points bet was going to give him a little bigger odds there. But
I was hunting for that too.
I think they know what they're doing. But yeah, dude, in what way? There was even on Tuesday afternoon, Cameron Young had shorter odds than Wyndham Clark, and I'm like, brother, this guy's won nothing. Wyndham Clark's won the U.S. Open, 2 signature events, and beat everyone last week that's not named Scotty Scheffler. Like, what are we talking about? Yes, there's volatility, but I think that's baked into the odds, plenty baked into the odds. I think 55-1 is a really great number, dude. I don't know how I could pass it up.
So I'm going to make you feel so much better about your Xander debate here. I am on both of the golfers you just are debating on right now.
Damn, dude. Damn.
Both. Which could be awful because we are right now on a lot of the same golfers, it sounds like. And that could be absolutely horrible for our differentiation. We're not differentiating that much as a show. So we could come on here next week and be like, oh, what the fuck happened? But hey, we'll both be upset together. So, or super happy. Love Lowry this week, not just because he's Irish. A lot of good things line up for him this week, man. 6th in the field in approach the last 24 rounds. You talk about the Pete Dye design courses. He's been really good here. Strokes gained total lately. Par 5 scoring this year. He's been really good. 4th in strokes gained total in Florida over the past 36 rounds. Great recent form coming off of 3rd place at Arnold Palmer, T4 at the Cognizant Classic. I love it with Shane Lowry this week, even though St. Patrick was Italian. We will celebrate St. Patrick's Day with our Irish brethren. So do love that. It would be perfect if he gets a win this weekend. The Windy City Assassin, 2nd last week, dude. What does he have to prove? If we're talking about Willie Z, we're talking about Willie Z being a guy that can contend, be a big dog in big dog fields and tournaments. What is Windy City? I'm about to call him Windy Clark. What has Wyndham Clark done lately that proves that he can't be that guy too? He's absolutely done it. And he hasn't had much luck here. And I don't know if that's it, but we were talking about, we're not really looking at course history here as a big deciding factor this week. And he's golfing better than he ever has in his career at this very moment. Finished T27 last year. That's a trend I think that's only going to get better, even if we're looking at guys that have golfed here, not have golfed at a premium. That doesn't really matter to us. The fact that he's getting better here and getting better overall, golfing his best. Yeah, man, Wyndham Clark 55-1. It's a no-brainer to me to at least take the shot. I don't care if he wins or not. 55-1 is a stupid number for him.
Yeah, completely agree. Way too big. He has been a little bit volatile this season, just like looking at his numbers and stuff. But what's kind of weird, and I was saying this to myself this afternoon, I almost feel like, and Wyndham Clark is much older than he is now, and this guy was before. Obviously, he's older than him now, so yes, that makes sense. I feel like he's kind of what Cameron...
I just caught what you said. It didn't click at first. Go ahead.
Of course, he's older than him, both now and then. He kind of reminds me what like Cameron Young was doing when he first burst onto the tour, but Wyndham Clark is actually winning. Like, the putter is hot and cold, but when it's hot, it's fucking on fire. The 2 times he's gained strokes putting this year, gained 7 at Pebble Beach and gained nearly 5 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and just hits the ball a long way. Good off the tee for the most part. The ball striking is good, and there is putting upside there. I feel like it's kind of similar to what Cameron Young was doing, like when he first burst onto the PGA Tour during his rookie season. It's just Wyndham Clark is actually doing it in those same big events that Cameron Young was doing it. Wyndham is just actually winning. So, yeah, 55-1. Give me Wyndham Clark for a guy that's the reigning U.S. Open champion, won 2 of these signature events, and has 2 top 2s in his last 4 starts.
Yeah, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I love, if you're going to give him this number and put him in some head markets too, I'm just saying right now, I haven't looked at any head-to-heads yet. That's one to watch for. Like, I would probably put a full unit on. There's got to be some leverage there. And you know what, Jeff?
He is volatile, though. I mean, I think the outright market is actually perfect for him because, like, when he's playing to his best, he can win, but, like, he can miss the cut. Like, I actually think that's, like, the best market to use him personally.
That's a good point, too, yeah.
He is a little bit hit or miss, but clearly when he's on, he's one of the big boys. He's a top 10 player in the world when he's on. No doubt about it.
That is a good point. Maybe the floor is not the best with Wyndham Clark. So, yeah, maybe right. Maybe stay away from the head-to-head market there. What was I going to say, though? I'm not on Jason Day this week.
No way.
Just really? Skipping ahead.
I actually thought about him.
Well, it's a great price, and this could be a really good spot for him too. And I just don't. I can't go down that road when I really don't think it's his week. I gotta have, like, you gotta have the gut type of feel sometimes. And for me, it's like Jason Day. This is not your week. There's a lot of good names here too as we lead into the 100-1 range as we're looking 6-1 and up. Now, I won't name all these names, Jack, but I'm sure there's a couple guys in here that either you've bet one of them or you're probably looking at one of them. So what do you think here?
Yeah, Tony Finau. I think we got to talk about the 60-1 on Big Tone, don't we?
That's a big number. Yeah,
it's a big number on Mr. Tony Finau, and I'll tell you what, he's never won anything of substance in his entire career. He wins a lot of scrub events, and the putter has been god awful. I've been looking at it. It's been really bad since like this time last year for Tony Finau. He actually hasn't gained strokes on the green in consecutive events since the Players and the Match Play last year. So it's been a real battle for him on the greens. Didn't even crack the top 10 in Mexico, which I think for like his standards and being the undoubtedly best player in that field is a little bit disappointing. But I also don't think, like, for how bad the putter has been, Like, it's pretty remarkable what Finau's still been able to do this year. The T6 that he had at the Farmers Insurance Open, he still managed to finish top 20 at the Genesis Invitational. And that's because the ball striking has been magnificent, man. He's gained over 6 strokes ball striking in each of his last 4 starts, leads the field in greens and regulation, which is obviously going to come in handy on a course like this. Do I think he can win? Probably not. He's still just not confident from 4 to 8 feet, and you're going to need to hit those in order to win on a course like this. But I don't think it's necessarily as like bad as the 60-1 odds show. Like, Tony Finau still has 3 top 20s over his last 4 starts and really hasn't putted well throughout any of those. And they've all been elevated events. All 3 of those top 20s, or 2 of the top 20s have been in elevated events. So if Tony Finau can figure out the putter, and I think it's something worth keeping an eye on moving forward. Like, if we start seeing progress after the Masters, then I think he could be on the verge of something. But until he figures out the putter, man, that's going to hinder him. But I thought that was a big number. Jason Day, I know you said you're not going to be getting him to this week, but he was someone I thought about a little bit. Even Benny On, who quietly is outside of Scotty Scheffler and this other guy I'll mention in a second, is one of the better tee to green players on the PGA Tour right now. The problem is the broomstick putter is kind of reverted back to being a little bit colder than it was when he first opened the season with those 2 top 5s, but I thought 70-1 was interesting for him. But really what it comes down to for me is just like, I don't know if any of these guys are really in good enough form to go and win. Tom Hoagie, I think Mr. Hoagie Buns, baby, is always interesting because he legitimately, outside of Scotty Scheffler, is probably the best iron player in the world right now. The numbers have been fantastic, and he's got a decent track record. Not a decent, a pretty good track record here at TPC Sawgrass. So I understand the Mr. Hoagie Buns love. He's probably the one I like the most. Only one I did bet from the 60 to 100 to 1 pocket is, no surprise here, it's my boy Sahith. Caught an 89 on him, an 89 on him at the points bet, and it's just big enough for me to
pretty
hop
good.
back on, man. I've been on Sahith all year long. He's got 3 top 6s now this year, all in designated events. The driver, the change that he's made off of the tee has just been so crucial for him. Not only has that like not been a hindrance in his game any longer, he's turned it into a weapon. He's been one of the better players on tour off the tee this year, gained almost 4 strokes in that department last week. The putting has been marvelous. The irons, I'd like to see them be a little bit more consistent. He is still a little hit or miss, but gained 2 strokes on approach in his final round at Bay Hill, and isn't all that far removed, I think, that suggests from the performance that he had in Phoenix, where he gained 5.5 strokes on his approach. So I think it's just kind of a talent play and something, because I've been backing Sahith all year long for the most part, and he really hasn't given me any reason to hop off. I bet him at Phoenix, he finished 5th. I bet him at the Genesis, he finished T6. And it feels like he's starting to get close. And 89-1, even though he has a pretty dog water track record here, I think he's a much more matured and developed player at this stage of his career. So 89-1, I thought, was a phenomenal number on Sahith.
Yeah, I no issues with that whatsoever. I kind of figured you were going to go that route. Once I saw his number, I was like, yeah, that's a jack move right there to go with the Gala. No doubt about it in this field or this event. So, yeah, I mean, I see what you're doing there. Brian Harman, the Weasel.
Yeah.
A lot of people like him this week, and for good reason. I understand it this week. This is not a super, like, you don't have to be a super long hitter to win. We know he can putt, and we know he has the accuracy, right? So Harman, 80-1, man. That's interesting to me. I haven't done it, and I'm probably not going to do it because it's just annoying.
The one thing I will say about Harman real quick, and I thought it was interesting too, and he got bet down really hard. So a lot of people are in agreement with you. I think there were 150s out there on Brian Harman on Sunday afternoon when the odds first got released. Just looking at some of his numbers, man, he still doesn't have a top 10 this year, other than at the Century, his first start of the entire season. And the putter, oddly, has not been his best friend like it usually is. Like, that's usually his jam. And he's lost strokes putting in 4 of his last 5 starts. The approach, it was great to see that come back last week, but he still had lost in 3 of his 4 previous to that, and all 3 were at least losses of 2 strokes to the field. And off the tee, it's mostly because of distance, but I think things just have to go so perfectly for him to win, and I don't think he's in perfect form in order to do that. And I think the 150 would be worthy of a flyer. 80 to me, I think Brian Hartman can hang in. I just think a lot of things have to go right for him to win with where his game's at right now.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I do kind of. It's interesting you're talking about his putting there because I really haven't looked as closely of what his putter's done recently. So if that's not really on a game level, I think I agree with you. I don't really want a part of it then if that's the case, especially if it's been bet down to the price it is now, which, to me, it's still not a terrible number if you're really convicted on it. I wouldn't say it's a bad number just because it's been bet down, but if it's originally getting a 150 and now you're getting an 80, it's like, okay, it's not as fun. So everybody else is celebrating a 150 and you're sitting there with the 80 like, oh, yeah, follow the crowd. No, I don't like that. When everybody starts betting one way, it's usually not going to hit. Just we've seen it time and time again. Real quickly, I don't really have a ton of long shots, but I might have just talked myself into another one.
Who are you thinking? Is it Aaron Rye, the Reuben?
Yes.
Of course it is. I know you like the fucking back of my hand, dude. I know you like the back of my hand.
Well, look at you know where we're at here. Look.
Can he putt?
Okay. He can't putt.
Let's see. I'm looking up Aaron Rye right now.
No, he can't. Don't ask that question. That's terrible. He's not putting well. His approach, his off the tee, his total driving, his accuracy, dude, one of the most accurate guys in the field. No question. Hands down. Like, we know that. The hybrid.
The Reuben.
The Reuben. What are we talking? The Rachel. Dude, 100 to 1, man. I gotta take a little sprinkle. I'll put a little $5 smackaroo on it. Talk to me though. You probably hate this.
I'm just not in on Aaron Rye, but I think it would be awfully hilarious if he won in the United States before Tommy Fleetwood did. That would be rather funny.
He's going to.
I just don't think it's going to be in one of these events, man.
I could see that too.
It's just weird for some reason. There's just these overseas players that are really good players over there, and it can translate to high-end finishes, but for some reason it just eludes them in the winning department. I don't really know what it is, but Tommy, even Shane Lowry, Aaron Rye, I don't know. Shane Lowry, if I'm going to have him on my card and he doesn't typically pull through on Sundays, I don't know if I want to be adding Aaron Rye to mine personally, but I don't hate it. I get your reasoning. He is off the tee. He hits a ton of fairways. The irons are usually good for the most part. It's it just comes down to whether or not he can putt, and there's kind of some satisfaction in that. So I get it for sure. There are some guys down here though that are interesting for sure and have caught my eye. I like Doug Gim. He's got top 20s in each of his last 4 starts.
Yeah, he projects really well this week.
Yeah, I mean, same type of guy, hits a ton of fairways. The irons have been absolutely crispy, and he's actually been putting here as of late. So I'd probably like Doug Gim over Aaron Rye personally. I don't hate ever my boy Emiliano Grillo. A really impressive showing last week, T8. Dude, go and look at the putter for Emiliano Grillo. It's actually crazy what he's doing right now. He's one of the better putters on tour this season, bro. No BS.
Yeah, and that's pretty wild to think because he's come a long way.
Come a long way. Emiliano Grillo's gained, dude. He's only lost strokes putting once this year. It was at Phoenix.
I would never have thought that.
The ball striking is typically always good. Hits a lot of fairways. The around the green is concerning. He's lost in basically every measured start going back to the Shriners in the fall. So that's a little concerning, but I think that's baked into the price a little bit at 100. I don't hate that. I don't know if I like this course for Eric Cole because of his off the tee concerns, and I didn't like them last week, and I warned you a little bit, and he was awful off the tee. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, you did.
Did you end up betting him?
Yeah.
I just had a feeling it was going to be bad news bears for Eric T off the Cole.
I'm pretty sure I bet him.
Off the tee.
He was like possibly one of my last 2, and I think I did bet him last week. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost 3 strokes off the tee last week. I had worries, but impressively, he still finished T21. Like, the approach is still good. The putting is basically good week in and week out. I don't know if I like him here. I don't think it's a good course. I think it's an okay number. But there are cases to make for guys down here, dude. I just like not on this course to me. Not on this course. I think it's all about incoming form. Like, maybe EVR I thought was a little bit interesting. Austin Eckroat's irons, I think, give him a chance. There's a good number on Mathieu Pavon. I only made one deep long shot just to be there for moral support. I bet Andrew Novak at 300-1 with a free $3 bet credit that I had, because he's got top 10s in each of his last 3 events, and they fucked him by not putting him in the field for Bay Hill last week and making Nick Dunlap golf by himself.
Yeah, what, dude? We talked about. I hate that. That's so stupid. You make someone golf by themselves. It could have easily been Novak. Yeah, glad you're supporting him there. Maybe a first round leader too. What do you think about that?
I was thinking that maybe Andy knows FRL.
Yeah,
if he tees off in the morning, I would like it a little bit more.
I don't hate that.
But yeah, I just think so. With this tournament moving from May to March, I do think accuracy or distance and the accuracy combo becomes a little bit more important. And that always usually favors the best players in the world. If you grow out the rough and make it longer, that usually favors the best players in the world. It's usually a guy that it comes in with good form. Like, I think we're going to see one of the big dogs come through here. And I know it's been something that we've said a lot so far this year, but I just think it's required on a course like this, good form at the very least, and to have all areas of your game going. Like, I think after 150, I really stopped looking.
No, I stopped looking after 112.
Yeah, I understand.
Can you guess the 112-1?
112, 120, or 112?
112. It was really weird.
Points bet. It was points bet.
Points bet power
like, who the fuck's throwing out 112?
Yeah, it was weird.
Harris English?
Nope.
Chris Kirk? No, he didn't get a boost. I actually
love
saw that.
Chris Kirk though.
Oh, it's definitely Keith Mitchell, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I knew it.
Listen, if I'm not going with Jason Day, I got to have another one of my boys on here. He's done okay-ish here, not like great here, but
it's done okay. It's always good.
Right. Well, last year, T35, right, does have 3 straight top 20s in this season since mid-February. So I like that. He's a long hitter, like you're talking about. With this tournament moving to March, maybe that matters just a little bit more. Total driving, approach, proximity, and greens and reg numbers, they look fantastic this year. So yeah, I never really have to be talked into betting Keith Mitchell ever. But if you're gonna pull my arm, twist my arm a little bit at 112-1, I'll take the bait on that, especially when I'm not going that super far down the board. It's not like I have too much on him in comparison to some of these other guys, but hey, man, if he hits, and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I don't hate it. A lot of love coming for Keith Mitchell, and this is typically the time of the year where he does play well. So yeah, get out your Keith Mitchell love while you got it. You'll probably still end up playing him at like TPC Twin Cities in August or something.
Probably something stupid like that. Not gonna lie. But Jack, with that said, it sounds like we don't have. Do you want to toss out some names here? Like, are there just for the sake of referencing them? Like, hey, this guy here. Like, I know we're not really seriously going to bet any of these guys down the board, but I mean, Ricky Fowler's in here.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I feel like I usually got a good feel on Rick. He's been dead since the Ryder Cup. He's been a dead body.
Wild, man. The turnaround from Ricky Fowler compared to Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Polar opposite.
It's been tough to see for Rick. I was really hoping that it would elevate him to get him going. And we just have not seen him get off the starting line so far this year and put any remnants of 4 complete rounds together so far. It's concerning for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And no signs to show that it's going to be changing anytime soon. It's the problem.
Yeah, I would agree with that, at least from the way it looks. We'll see though. Maybe I mean he's one of those guys that can just pop out of there with on a blink of a in the blink of an eye, and just all of a sudden he golfs well for 3 straight tournaments. But when he goes in these funks, though, he tends to go for a little bit. That's the Ricky Fowler we've seen over the past few years. So don't love it. Yeah, man. There's really nobody else down the board that I can think of. Props. I don't think. Do you have a first round leader or anything, or?
Maybe I'll bet Andy knows. Maybe I'll bet an Andrew Novak first round leader, Andrew Novak hole in one. Maybe I'm just going for the redemption arc of Andrew Novak this week. He's
The
playing
hole
with
in
a chip
one.
on his shoulder. I don't know.
Let's
I don't
go.
really got a ton of props. Maybe I'll get some live head-to-head matchups or something going if I'm watching with some buddies over the course of the weekend. But really just trying to focus on, and shoot, I know it's the most volatile market out there, but really just trying to focus on hopefully getting these outrights correct, man. I've been itching for one for the last couple of weeks, and really hoping TPC Sawgrass is the course to provide us for the first one in a little bit here.
Look, man, we are pretty much in unison this week. This is also me praying, by the way, with the hands together in the clap. And St. Patrick's Day. Look, we've got an Irishman on the card.
I still haven't bet him, but I think I'm gonna. It's him and Wyndham or X. Do
you like money?
Anderson okay?
No. I get it. You make more money though if you bet the other two.
You're right. You're right. I do.
You also probably have to put more. Well,
no, it's the same amount. I mean, it's the same amount. That's why I'm like, it's either all going on Xander or I could split it between Lowry.
You give yourself twice as many spins at the dial, though.
You are right. These are decisions that I need to have in the next 40 minutes. I am, if I'm being truthful. I'm leading towards Lowry and Wyndham at this point in time.
I think it's a good decision, and don't kill me if we're wrong. Yeah, props. I do have something. Talked about it off air.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, and it was just kind of random, but was able to find it on PointsBet, and I don't know if you can find it somewhere else. You might be able to find it, and it might be a better number somewhere else, but usually PointsBet has these make cuts. They start a little bit of better numbers than some of these other guys. Like some of the other books will only start guys out at like minus 180 and then go up from there, and they won't even have these guys that are kind of in the middle, but you really are leaning towards them having a good week. And that's the case here with Maverick McNeely. He's actually been really good lately. I mean, I was looking at what he's done. I mean, this year, 6 cuts made out of 7 events. He seems to be pretty well dialed in for the most part. Like, he's not fully there, but I think the floor is it's becoming there. Off the tee, he's been really good. He's been putting the lights out. The total driving is there. The accuracy is a little bit scary or worrisome. But I just think there's too many things that are lining up for him to have a good week this week, especially the way that he's been golfing, to not just make the cut. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for much. Minus 105. I put 2 full units on this, Jack.
Ooh, baby.
Because, I've been really frustrated lately with not hitting outrights. That it's like, why did I get off of the bread and butter of the props? Because we were getting a little bit too reliant, is how it felt, on the outrights. And I'm like, let's just go back to the well and try to make money. If I lose the outrights, it's like I still made money back in that sense. So Mav McNeely, let's fire it up to make the cut, minus 105.
All right. Sounds good, buddy. I like it. I'm not asking a whole lot. Just got to make the cut. Just get there to the weekend, old Mav McNeely.
That's all I care about.
You are still ahead in the one and done, as Rory McIlroy finished 21st last week. I don't know if it was necessarily the finish you'd like out of Rory, but he does get you the win last week. I had Keegan. He finished 36. Not great, not terrible. But it is still your turn, good sir. What are you taking?
This is so tough, isn't it?
Scary one, too, because like I said, this course it's random.
I want to look real quick at someone. So give me just a second here as I talk myself through this, because I do have a few options that I can go with. I don't really want to use one of the big dogs. I haven't used Scotty yet to this point. And I think we're right. Am I correct
No,
about that?
you haven't used Scotty. No.
Okay. So I don't really want to use him here. Like, it's just I would, because this is an elevated event. It's not like I'm afraid of doing it, but at the same time, I want to save him for another spot, I think. But I'm looking at reform, and I just have to double check something real quick with a guy that's a little further down the board.
Okay.
I don't really, we're not going off of course history that much this week. We've said that multiple times here on the show, but he does have good course history. He's pretty damn good in Florida. He's missed some cuts here as well, but he's a lot of history here in general. Shane Lowry.
Okay.
That's going to be the one and done. I'm not going to go all the way up. Not going to go all the way down. Just try to ride this wave and maybe get a top 20 at least or something.
I think that's a pretty good pick for here. I really do. I need to kind of right the ship here a little bit. I had Eric Cole miss the cut at the COG, and then Keegan, I guess he finished top 40, but not all that great in a designated event. Who do I want to go with here? I'm going to go with Hideki Matsuyama.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Good results here, in pretty good form. I'm not going to bet on him, but and I don't feel terrible burning him here. I don't really have like a certain spot set. I don't think I used him this year, right? I'm double checking. No.
No, yeah, I don't remember you saying him at all.
No, I used Sung Jae at the Farmers, and he missed the cut. When you used Jason Day, and he also missed the cut. I think that was the first time we ever both missed the cut in our one and done at the same week.
It has to be the only time because, usually when one of us misses the cut, the other one gets like top 10.
Yeah, usually something like that happens. So, yeah, I'm going with Hideki. You got Shane Lowry. Pretty good matchup there.
That is a good matchup. I wonder if there's a head-to-head on that.
That would be interesting. Kind of in the same betting range.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. There's got to be maybe a book out there that that'd be really tough to call, I think, too. Good week, man. This is a great week. I love that there's a lot more coverage this week, and that's something that they've been very vocal about, out of coverage that's going to be streamed across all these different platforms. And, it's not just on one, of course. It has to be, we're going to bounce around and do this and that. But it does, they never really get it totally right, Jack. They don't. They just don't.
It's the PGA Tour. You can't expect things to get run properly.
No, but at the very least, we will have pretty much golf to watch the entire way through from Thursday to Sunday. And that, to me, is great. Now, if we can just find a way for them to not cut away from the live action and show us the meaningful stuff that we give a shit about, then we're really onto something. Yeah. Then we're really onto something. But my friend, any final thoughts here as we lead into the Players Championship and I don't know, guide for somebody, things to look for as you're rounding out your card here, some of these last minute bettors?
Yeah, I definitely think hitting the fairway is going to be really important this week. I really do. Total driving, I think, is going to be super crucial. And I think it's going to be a tough test. I think it might play a little bit tougher than it did last year with the rough being long and the wind possibly playing a factor in 2 of the 4 rounds that I've noticed so far as well. So I think it's going to be a good challenge. I'm rather excited for it. The one thing I will say is just never assume that your guy is, if he's on a good run, never really assume that he's going to keep it going or head in one direction, because things can change in a hurry on this golf course, man. It's one of those where you can be going along smoothly or 4 or 5 under through, 8, 9 holes, and you're like, oh, this is going to be around a 64. Next thing you know, he makes a quad and he's back to even through 10. Those things can happen on this course. Hopefully the players you're betting on are missing the water hazards and the bigger numbers for the most part, but it's kind of tough to do so around here. Most guys find trouble at some point in time. So it's a good test, man. Good coverage, actually, for once. It's basically here and Augusta, and that's not even the PGA Tour's event, technically. So this is basically the best it gets on the PGA Tour. So sit back and enjoy it while you got it, friends, because, yeah, this is the the All-Star game, the Stanley Cup, the big one, if you will, on the PGA Tour is the
The
only one they give respect to, apparently.
Apparently, man, the creme de la creme of coverage. I don't know, dude. Yeah. Nonetheless, it's going to be great for us because for once we don't have to bitch about it for the most part. Yeah, super pumped, man. I don't know if we mentioned this because we were talking a whole lot about PointsBet. Our apologies. You can enter the promo code ONTAP at Bet Rivers. That's our sponsor. Promo code ONTAP for an up to $250 deposit match. Yeah, what are you waiting for? It's free money. Go ahead. Go do it. Probably some good numbers over there too. Prop market, whatever. We weren't talking outrights too much about Bet Rivers, but they probably have something. Still a little bit salty with them, by the way.
Yeah, give me my enhanced offers back. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't understand that. They made the enhanced offers like some weird like yes or no question now or something.
Yeah, I don't like it, but Bet Rivers, come on. We love you, and I will bet your numbers. I've been a big fan of Bet Rivers. I always hammered those enhanced odds, man, and I was loyal there. So give them back. That's all we're asking. We're very nice people.
Such a terrible way to shout out a sponsor. Bet Rivers, we love you.
We do love you, but it's a load of barnacles, man. I'm just calling a spade here.
Exactly. We're just honest people. Exactly. We call it like it is. But Jack, man, it's been great. Definitely follow you on everybody, listen to this. Follow Jack at Jack Bushman 2. You can follow me at Joey Knows Nothing. You can follow Golf on Tap at On Tap Golf. Follow all of Jack's articles and all the golf content over and Ross's content over at ontapsportsnet.com. Not even just golf, obviously. We're talking betting here on this golf episode, but we have Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs. Cubs are right around. Oh, I guess White Sox too. They did have a move today.
Oh, did they trade Dylan Cease? Oh no, that sucks.
Poor them.
That stinks, man. I really feel bad for them. That's a shame.
Yeah, they're not going to really. They're not really going to have like who's actually. Do they have enough players to field the team this year, or is that?
I heard they're having open tryouts.
Yeah, we should try out, Jack.
Yeah.
I don't really want to play for the Sox, but let's be real, I would because it's the MLB, but it's Major League Baseball. I still would. Anyways, that said, Bears coverage super hot right now, obviously. Woo! Because the draft's coming and it's free agency period, and the Bears are making moves and hopefully getting better. Sounds like they are. Looks like they will be better next year. We shall see. We're waiting on that. Connor Bedard, Jack, I know the Blackhawks. Dude, he's so freaking nasty. He is so nasty. Did he have 5 points the other night, Ron was saying? I didn't even get to watch the game.
5 points last night. Absolutely tore it up. One of the few Blackhawks games this season that have put a big old smile on my face, Joey.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, so all the Chicago sports content that you can even think of at ontapsportsnet.com. With that said, hopefully everyone has a great tournament from a betting results standpoint and just has fun this week. You get to watch golf, like we said, for 4 days. What's better than that? So enjoy yourselves. Be safe. St. Patty's Day weekend. So that means you got to crack them. And it's Thursday, so the weekend starts on Thursday tomorrow. Jack, are you hitting any, before we sign out of this thing, are you hitting any pub crawls or anything? Oh, what's going on this weekend?
I will be in the city on Saturday morning. I will be around if you're going to be in town. You might have to watch some drunken golf together.
I think that sounds like an incredible idea. I got to check, though, because there could be some wedding weird stuff that I got to be doing this weekend for, I don't know, this entire time while I was on the show. I was getting 5 to 6 text message alerts from Kayla about just hey, will you look into this DJ and do this and I'm like, can you not hear me up there? What am I doing right now? I can't do it right now. Anyways, so we'll talk about it. But I would love to drink some green beer and look at the Green River and just whatever we can get ourselves into this weekend. That'd be awesome.
I will be in touch, my friend. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's do that. Please let me. We're out of here. Crack them, lock them, fuck them, and let's win some money.